Thank you for taking time out. Quick intro about DataMites. DataMites is a data science and AI training institute with a global footprint of training more than 15,000 learners, including students, working professionals, and senior executives. Today, we have Raajavignesh with us. He got placed recently with ACCELDATA as ML engineer trainee. Raajavignesh is here to share his experience of becoming an ML engineer. We have Deepak, program manager at Rubix, who will be moderating the call today. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type into the question box or raise your hand and we will allow you to speak. If you have logged in from YouTube, kindly leave your question in the comment section. We will take these questions after the discussion. We will turn the time over to Raajavignesh. Over to you, Raajavignesh. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, Prasanna. Thank you for having me. And thanks to DataMites, thanks to Ashok sir, Subhashini ma'am, Suhail sir, everyone who made this possible for me. Thank you. I'm audible, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, Raja, you're audible.
Yes.
So let me introduce myself. I'm a fresher. I graduated in architecture in 2020 September. I know totally I'm from a different background. Like I'm architect, I don't have any experience in computer science. Like I don't know Python or anything. I started DataMites in November, and they helped me to start my career in data science. Let me say how I came to the data science. That part started when I was third year. I was doing some digital marketing projects, and I did some analytical works. And there was a scenario helped a company to solve a problem with the analytics. So I came to know the importance of data in an organization, and I just jumped from architecture to data science, and that's my story. Now I'm working in a company called ACCELDATA, and thanks to Rohit sir, CEO of ACCELDATA, Hitesh Gupta sir in ACCELDATA, and Kannan sir and Vikram sir, my team members. I'm working in MLOps team.
Right. Thank you, Raajavignesh. Thanks for the quick introduction. Before we start taking questions from the audience, there are a few things that I want to ask you. We will take that and then eventually go to the questions from the audience who are attending on YouTube and on Zoom, right? So one of the questions that I wanted to know is, how did you come to know about DataMites, and how was your learning experience with DataMites? Like, what made you choose DataMites? And once you joined, what was your experience? Can you touch upon those points?
Yeah. Like the first point I saw was like the mentor. When I saw Ashok sir profile, it was like a perfect match for me. And DataMites, they have trained a lot of people, and I can see the reviews in LinkedIn and Google reviews, everything. And I just choose this is the right place for me. So I can learn a lot of things from Ashok sir.
Right. So can you touch upon a bit of your learning experience? How was your training? How was the flow? What? I want to kind of understand how from your point of view, what did you feel about those aspects?
Yeah, the course was a perfect tailored course for a beginners as a fresher. Like the course also include Python. Like I don't know Python when I started, so that helped me a lot. And also the internship program that helped me much more to go into the machine learning and data science jobs. And it covered almost every part from the math, Python, and to the machine learning algorithms and everything.
Wonderful. So when you were taking the class, did you who was your trainer? Did you have a favorite trainer? How was it? Can you give us some pointers on that?
Yeah, for me, like Ashok sir was taking class for the stats and max, and it was like amazing class. Like he used to say all the case studies for each and every topic. There was a case study he explained and how they work in the real life. That's the more important point. And I also had the Suhail sir for the next whole part, and also Subhashini who took Python for me. Suhail sir, he's a very experienced person. He was able to grasp about me, and what question I ask, he's able to answer like in a way that I can understand, like a lay person. That was wonderful.
Right. So also want to know, like, you're a non-programmer. How much you are coming from a completely different background, which is architecture, as I
Yeah.
understand, right? So how did you practice? How was, like, because a lot of people have this. I'm a non-programmer. Is data science for me? Kind of a lot of people have these questions. Is there any what do you say tips and whatever that you did? Would you like to share with the audience?
Yeah, definitely. Like I would start with, it doesn't depend like you're a fresher or a beginner or you have experienced person. Always data science is a really new job, and it's becoming like very popular. So my tips would be, okay, let's say first start with the stats and maths. That's important. It's more important. Like, it will take maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And the second part is to learn coding. Python. It's not like you have to be a very professional coder. The basic programming, like I would recommend, 100 days of code in Udemy. To practice daily. It's a 100 days challenge. Take that kind of challenge. And for the machine learning part, not just learning is enough. You have to take a data set and practice. Like I used to, from the Rubik's, I got a data set in different kinds of data sets in different domains. So for every week and every 20 days or like that, I worked in a data set, and DataMites team, they helped me to solve the case, like where I lagged and everything. So after that, if you want to go to a further part, after completing the machine learning part, you can go dive into the deep learning. Uh, it depends upon the company. Like a few interviews I got, like for one interview, there was a scenario that I questioned almost everything in the deep learning, and I missed few parts, and then a very minor part in machine learning. So please be strong on the base. That's very, very important. Please be very strong on the statistics and max. And that's it. I used to spend like 8 hours studying. I used to study a lot. Please don't do that. It's not necessary to study a lot. Like I studied machine learning, deep learning, Adobe Spark, Linux, Docker, everything. Like for each every interview, they need a different kind of person. So be strong on the base machine learning part and start part. That's important. So that's enough to get a job. Seriously, if you want to go further, you can study deep learning and other parts.
Right, wonderful. So I want to take a one step before data science. So I want to understand your background. Where did you study? What did you study? Want to just touch upon that with which college you're from, and what was
Yeah,
your branch? And yeah.
yeah. My base is like my hometown is Madurai, Tamil Nadu. I studied in a nearby college in Dindigul. I studied architecture for 5 whole years, and I had like a bit of experience in digital marketing and in Google Analytics at that time, like third year, and that was my starting point to understand data. So that's it. Like I'll be frank, like I almost declined the job offer in MNC company as an architect. Like it used to maybe pay me like 4 to 4.5 lakhs per annum. But I found that my passion is digging deep into the data, diving and finding to give a solution to a problem. That's more important. So that's what I want. Like every day and every single day, the data differs, and the solution you give will differ. So you can find a lot of things. So that's how I do.
That's wonderful. So you also touched upon an interesting point that on, like, you spend a lot of time studying,
Yeah.
close to 8 hours, something like that you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
What would be your recommendation? I mean, if somebody is getting into data science new, they are like getting the ropes of all the topics which are getting covered. What do you think is a fair amount of time that they need to spend according to you? What would be your opinion on that, Raja?
Like for me, I'm non-programmer, so like I took 8 plus hours, but it doesn't mean like you should spend 8 hours. Just spend most of the time in stat and machine learning. That's more than enough. Seriously, like in the interview, I missed I missed the very basic parts. I was able to answer the tougher parts in deep learning, like image segmentation, image localization. So try to spend time in the base. Like first start, like I would say you can spend like 14 days in max and stat. The basic is more than enough. Like to know what is mean, median, mode, what standard deviation. Part of that. Then go for the machine learning part, and build a profile in a GitHub. That's like important. It will be like encouraging for you as well. you to go and someone to give a link to GitHub, and they can see your projects, and they can see what are the works you did and everything. So my advice is to spend a reasonable amount of time. Don't just learn everything. That won't help in the long run. Study the basics, and from there you can take to the next step. You get a job, there will be different kinds of thing you have to learn, and you can learn. If you know the basics, that's quite enough. It's more than enough.
All right, wonderful. So also there is this as a fresher. So I want to understand because many freshers have this thing that's difficult to crack, difficult to get interviews. I want to understand from your side, what was your strategy? How did you apply for jobs? What was the things that you used to do when you used to see apply for jobs, Raja? That's something that I'm sure most of us would like to know from your point of view. What all did, and obviously it has worked for you. So we want to know what all you did, Raja.
The first thing I want to say to the freshers is just don't lose hope at any time. Uh, for every company, they need a different kinds of person. So I used to apply in LinkedIn, and the best strategy I applied was like I used to use a hashtag in the search part, like hashtag ML engineer, hashtag hiring. So search in kind of that way, and you can connect with the people, data scientists, HR people in the company. If you see a job profile, first try to connect the company, people in that company via LinkedIn or maybe other platforms like Cutshot or something. But try to connect to the people. That's the more important part. Not like you can go to the Naukri and apply to the 100 jobs, and you can wait. Like I'll be frank, I have applied more than like 200 plus jobs, and I didn't. I just received like just 2 calls, and the 2 calls, there was no confirmation. Not even the when my interview date was not even selected. So just don't lose hope. Try to connect via LinkedIn. That's the best platform we got. And also try to contact DataMites team. They also used to help.
Oh, wonderful. So that's a nice aspect that you bought. Like, yeah, I understand a lot of people keep applying for jobs whenever they see data, I mean, related keywords. And yeah, that's a nice thing that you told. I think that would help a few of us when we are looking out for jobs. Also want to understand how much the internship experience with Rubik's worked. How was your experience with working with projects? How many projects did you work on? Can you brief on that as well, please?
Yeah, like the best part is that the internship part. Like studying a lot of things is not important. You have to know how to apply that in the real life. It's like more important. So in the Rubik's internship part, they gave me a data set from different domains, not just a single domain, from different domains, like healthcare, insurance, sales prediction, uh, like rice leaf predictions, heart disease prediction, liver patient prediction. I did like several projects, and also it also did few projects in deep learning. That's the rice leaf prediction project I did, and that helped me. I tried to apply most of the algorithms that I studied, during the course period, and I tried to apply that. And from there, I saw how it worked. Like you have to know how that works in the real time. A small change, in transformation and feature selection will change a lot. So that Rubik's that internship really helped me a lot. That's the true point here. Not studying, a lot of times that won't help, and practically tried everything. And also I got a client project. From the client project I learned really a lot. Like I have to label the parts. Like I learned a lot from that, and thank you for that, Rubik's. Really, thank you.
That's wonderful. So also I want to now touch upon like when you had a doubt, how was it? Like how was the support? How was the SME support? What was your experience with that? I want to understand a bit of that.
For the most part, when I got out, I used to contact Suhail sir, and my ticket will be closed in like within 24 hours. That's the best part. Like when I get a question like answered, they used to give me a meeting session in the evening, most within like 24 to 48 hours. That's the max. I get connected with Deepak sir or Suhail sir with someone, and also we used to have a Friday regular meeting to know how my project is going on. So they helped me in that.
Wonderful. So many questions are coming. One of the main things that is getting asked is how was the interview process? So can you take us through your complete journey? How did this current job happen? How did you apply? What was all the rounds that you had? Can you touch upon that, please?
Yeah, definitely. Like the first thing is that they ask, they want to know about me. I thought like I was preparing for an interview. That's how I prepare for everything. So in this company, that this was quite totally different, and I'm really happy that I waited for a long time and I got into a best company. They tried to know about me, my background, and my interest, and then that's how the first round went, and then the second round was totally maths and stat part. They want to know how good I'm in the math, and they used to give me a particular problem case, and they know how I think for that problem. So and then the next part, like the third round was a live coding session. They gave me a Python programming problem. It's a data set problem to solve, and it went that part. And then the final part was they introduced me to the team, the MLOps team, and everyone is experienced part, and just they want to know how I will fit in their team, where I will fit, and that was my interview part.
Right. So one question that's very interesting thing that you told that you have a coding assessment during this journey, right?
Yeah,
Can you tell me how long the assessment was and what was the flavor of it? I mean, you don't have to give out the actual questions. That's not
yeah,
what I'm asking for. But what I'm asking you is like, how was it? I mean, what was the feeling? How long was the duration? Were you given any time? And what was it? Did you have any challenges doing that? I want to understand that, Rajav.
yeah. Definitely, in the coding part was that session I think like took me more than 1 hour, and it was a good experience. That when I struggled, they didn't pick anything up. Just gave me a time. That's the more important part. It was a good journey. Like I didn't expect that I will solve that problem, but anyway, I did, and I got into the placement.
How long was the duration of the test itself, the coding test? How long
Yeah,
was it?
it was more than 60, maybe 75 minutes, I think.
So close to 1.5 hours. All
Yeah,
right.
right.
So also when you got into your technical interviews, when you spoke to the technical guys from the company side, what was the kind of questions that were asked? Like, and for you, given a problem statement, or were you asked to explain what you did? How was that?
Yeah, okay. I get it. Like, they want to know how you think for a particular problem case. For example, let's say like, okay, one second, let me think. There are few real world problems. Like, for example, they used to give me a say particular problem, and they want to know how I solve. For example, how do you predict, like sales price prediction? How do you do? What are the process involved in that? And why do you particularly do that part? Why do you want to do this, not the other algorithm? And they ask kind of that. They used to give a problem like, and they want to know that what algorithm will work best for that, and how do you select the model for the final deployment? The precision recall, F1 score, kind of that.
All right, great. So, were there any questions asked on deployment in your interview? Did they want you to showcase anything on the deployment side of it? Or was there anything on that
No,
front?
no, no. They didn't ask like that, but they tried to ask me what are the things I know about, general deployment, because it's the MLOps team, so I have to know a bit about that. So like very basic things, not much deep into that part.
Right. So once you figured out from a job standpoint, you mentioned that you are applying for 200 jobs and got two response back, right? So
Yeah.
once you figured out this is not working, so what did you do? I mean, how was your experience? What changed? How many jobs were you like applying per day? Were you doing any adjustments in your resume? And what channels were you using to apply these jobs?
Yeah.
After the initial phase, I'm not talking about those days where you were like applying for many of those. Once you figured out it's not working, how did it change for you? What all did you do, Rajan?
The first thing actually, what happened was like I got a job almost. I got a job as an ML engineer, in a company. But what happened was that time it was a lockdown again, in the April month, and that whole process and project was dropped. So like 1 month I didn't get any response. After that, I tried to apply to many different companies, and I got very few calls from no, I mean not calls, like notifications, but it was not a selection process. Like then what I did was like I went into the LinkedIn. Like if I see a job in LinkedIn or Google, what I used to do is like I go to that company LinkedIn profile and see the employees. From the employee, like I can check in sometimes in LinkedIn shows that who posted the job. So I'll try to connect via that, or in some case, what I use general HRs, or junior data scientist or a senior data scientist, and I used to send a note connection. But in the connection, what I did was like I used to mention the projects I did, a few projects I did. There will be limited like 150 words. Within that, I used to tell everything about the projects I did, and I get a reply back. The first part was like I didn't get any connections because I just randomly sent. Then I started using the note part. Please use that seriously. So you can say what exactly you're looking for. Like maybe you're looking for an ML intern or an ML engineer or data scientist. If you have experience, just you can say that I have 6 months or 1 year experience, and add that in the note so they can see that and they can accept your request.
Right. So as you're a fresher, how did you manage to do this? Because if you're telling your experience, so how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, like I said, I used to apply to the different things, and from the HR, like after few in a month, I got like few calls, and they scheduled me some aptitude, the first part. So that time I was doing also my internship in the loop weeks. Uh, that aptitude part was quite difficult for me. The sometimes they ask questions in scene language that was totally different perspective for me. Like I didn't want to see. So then what I did is after completing the internship, I got a certificate. When I tried to apply it from the certificate, what happened is like that process will be skipped. They don't ask for the aptitude part. They ask about what are the machine learning problems you solve in the real case.
Right.
That's a very important part. So doing internship is very important.
Wonderful. Right. So when you are doing your classes, while online classes were going on, were you preparing any notes? What is your suggestion? Do you think that's important? What is your suggestion on that?
Yeah, actually, the most of the materials like they are DataMites provided. So what I did was like when I the use case, like when I get a data set, I try to deploy the problem, and from that I used to study in the like for example, let's say I did a sales prediction from the linear regression, and I go to the video part, like we had a live session part, and from that I used to take notes. I tried to figure out the what Sohail sir said and how this algorithm works. So I used to compare to and study. First, I used to see the whole video, and then this like 1 hour video. It's the total 1 hour video I used to spend. And then the second time, what I do is take notes in the note. That will take a longer time, quite a long time, And then the third part, I use that notes to recall before the interview. That really helped me a lot in the first phase.
Right. Right. So did you have one resume to apply for all jobs, or were you working on your resume according to the job?
No, I had like different resumes. Like for computer vision, I did an OpenCV project in a face mask detection. So that project will be on the top. So I have to notch the thing up, for that particular job specifications, or like for for a general machine learning parts or data analytics part, like I give a different kind of project in the first column, and as well as I used to change in resume description.
Wonderful. So before we, I am done with the few questions that I had. So I will go to the audience questions. Just give me some time. I have a couple of minutes. I'm just putting all the questions which are there.
Yeah.
So Ramachandra Rao wants to know how much time it took you to go from architecture, from your college background, architecture background, to ML engineer. So how long was this journey? Is what Ramachandra wants to know.
Like it took me, 3 to 5 months. I actually spent a lot of time I was almost got a job in 3 to 5 months. The problem was that that was a COVID time, so I had to skip that part. Then after the COVID time, it's difficult to get a job. So they're asking for for deep learning, NLP, lot of cases. Uh, the mistake I did that I don't want you to do is just focus on the basics. When they in interview they asked me about a Docker, I started studying Docker and doing a small deployment part. And if they ask for NLP, I started studying, BERT, transformers, everything. So don't really do that part for, even if you're an experienced data scientist, like 5 plus years experience, sometimes you cannot go into a company because their requirement will be totally different. So it will take 3 months for, if you spend 3 to 4 months for the machine learning part, stats and machine learning, that will be more than enough.
Sure. So somebody is asking a question here, like, is the basic understanding of algorithm is enough to crack the interview? So if that's what the question is.
Definitely, the basic is more than enough to crack interview. But if you do a project, like you have to know each and every line of the code. That's also important.
Right. Give me one quick question. I think you do. Right. Let me just go through the questions that I have. All right. So Mahalakshmi wants to know what was the major question. I mean, basically, I think what she means by that is what was the major thing that they focused during the interview of the current company? What was the major aspect that they focused on?
Okay. Yeah. Like if I apply for NLP job description, they asked me about the project I did in the NLP part, particularly like I know transformers, but and how LSTM works, kind of that. But in the general part, what they ask about is the stat, basic questions in the stat, like mean, median, mode, what is variance, what is standard deviation. The most question they ask is about the what model, what's the difference between a fit and a fit transform. That part you have to know. That's basic part.
Right. So Abhishek has a question here. So he wants to know, when you got a call for an interview, is there anything that you were you doing for preparing for the interview? Anything that you did for that specific interview call, or how was your preparation per se for the interview?
Yeah, like if you're having an interview call, first know about the company. Uh, you have to know about the company and the job description very precisely. So when you talk, you know what they want. So if you talk about everything, you can study the basic parts, like for example, basic NLP you can study in the case. Not that you need to do a project in that, but you can say about the basic things, how to do the text pre-processing and how RNN or LSTM. So you can focus on that. When you get a call from the company, try to connect the people through LinkedIn if possible, like HR. So in my case, what happened was sometimes I don't get anything after the first round. I used to contact the HR from the company via LinkedIn. So you have to know the status as well, and just don't expect like you will get a second round or third round. Just keep going on. Don't lose your hope anytime. Just keep going.
Great. As a final thought, I think I've taken most of the questions. As a final thought, do you have any parting words to the aspirants who are listening to you? Also, not only the job aspirants, but also people who are thinking data science, is it for me? It's not any parting words that you would say, which can be an encouragement for them. Anything that you want to add, Raja?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thanks to all the participants who participated in this meet. You can contact me through LinkedIn anytime. I'll do my best to support you. And the important thing I want to share is that if I can do it, really, you can do it definitely. It's all about the time you spend and your focus. Uh, Even in the middle part, I got a job for a data analyst. It was only a contract. I declined that. There will be some scenarios where you have to choose like exactly what you want, but keep trying. Like many companies I went into the, I completed 3 rounds. I didn't get any reply back. I actually it's like it was like a final round, HR round, where my salary plan is going to be decided. I didn't get any reply back in the COVID time. That was in the April. So things happen. Just don't lose your focus. Keep on trying and do your best. Just learn the basics. That's enough. If you're interested in the next part, like if you want to go as an NLP engineer, study the NLP. If you want to go into the computer vision, you can study the CNN, AlexNet, that kinds of part. But basic will be enough to get a job. And my base is like, please try to do an intern if you're fresher. Like, don't expect like much salary or anything. Try to do an intern. You can learn a lot. And in Rubik's, they provide an intern, so you can definitely land a job with that intern. That's enough.
Right, wonderful. Thanks a lot, Raja, for giving us the time today to share your journey. Thanks a lot for that. So we would like to wish we wish you all the best from the team DataMites, that you get all the success that you hope for in this, and we would love to see where this journey takes you. From all of us, from all the panelists who are there, from the DataMites team and all the participants, we wish you all the best in your career. Thanks once again. Thanks for the attendees who joined the call and asked your questions. Thanks a lot. All the very best, Raja.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ending the call. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.